This Shabbat we read a section of the Torah called Ekev. Ekev. Ekev is one of the most powerful parashat of the year. It's the preparation for the Rosh Hashanah, as Mr. Darugar explains. All the parashot, the 7 parashot that we read after the Tisha B'Av until the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's all preparation. It's all preparation of consciousness. So when Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur comes, we can draw the utmost blessing, the light that emanates that time. Ekev is structured with 3 Hebrew letters: Ayin, Kuf, and Bet. Ayin, Kuf, and Bet. The first and the last letter, Ayin and Bet, is Ayin Bet Shemot, the 72 names of God. So the secret of the name Ekev means that this parasha has all the blessing, all the light force, everything that we need to have in our life, it's in this parasha. When we talk about berecha, when we talk about blessing, it could be in sustenance, in financial situation, in relationship, in family, in health, everything. This Shabbat, we have the zuchut to receive the totality of all the blessing that we need throughout our life. But we see that between the Ayin and Bet, there is a letter Kuf. Letter Kuf is the only letter, it's the only letter that its leg goes underneath the line that all the Hebrew letters are written. It's the only letter. And the secret is that in order to receive all the light force that we need, all the light force that is available this Shabbat, we have to control our ego, what brings us down to this physical world. This Shabbat is all about receiving the blessing, all form of blessing, every aspect of blessing that we need in our life. And Nader Ghiam, one of the students of the Baal Shem Tov, explains to us, he makes it clear how we can draw all the blessing that we need in our life. Like I said, blessing in financial situation, in sustenance, in health, in relationship, when I want to bless my children, when I want to bless a couple who's getting married, when we want to bless the bat mitzvah, when we want to bring beracha in our life. What does it take? What does it take to bring this blessing? He explains that this Shabbat, God wants to give us the endless blessing, the totality of all the blessing that exists in the world. We can bring it down this Shabbat. But it requires of 2 important consciousness. How can we bring this, the endless blessing? All the life, everything that I need, in every aspect of my life. Nader Ghiam explains that the first requirement is to have absolute certainty, absolute emunah. Absolute emunah that the life force of God wants to give me everything. And the only source that I receive all my blessing is from the life force of God. I don't draw blessing from anywhere else. All the blessing that I need in my life, any form of blessing, any form of beracha, when I have absolute emunah, absolute certainty that the life force wants to give me all this blessing, when I know the source of this blessing is the life force of God, that's the first requirement that we need to have during the whole Shabbat, during the whole Torah reading. Then when Rabbi Mordechai is reading this section, that the emanation, the manifestation of this reading, not only in this synagogue, but all over the world, awakens all the blessing and the certainty that we need to draw. But then he adds something else, something very, very important. Another aspect of the consciousness, of what consciousness we should have to draw all this blessing. And he says You should have trust in God. Put all your trust, all your emunah in the light force of God, and understand not to put your trust in the physical world. Not to trust anything that comes from the world of physicality. He says, don't think that the blessing that you receive, it's because of you. It's because of the work you did. It's because what you go through every day. Some people may think that I work very hard. I work very hard in my life, and I have blessing in my life. The blessing that I have is because I work very hard. Or I study so hard. I'm a great physician. I'm a great scholar. And because of my great work, I have all the blessing in my life. Of course, we live in the physical world. It requires work. It requires action. I cannot just simply sit home and expect that God gives me all the blessing. So, what Baal Shem Tov is telling us? If everything that I want to receive comes from the light force of God, and it has nothing to do with the physical world, has nothing to do how smart you are, how great you are, how hardworking you are. So why can't I just sit home, do nothing, and ask God to give me all the blessing? Isn't He the source of all blessing? What is Baal Shem Tov is telling us? Not to trust this physical world. And then he makes it clear for us what we do in this physical world, which is very important, which is very, very essential. We need to work. We need to study. We need to grow. We need to work very hard. We need to take this physical world seriously. But with what consciousness? That whatever I do, it's only a levush. It's only a vessel to bring this light force into my life. We're not the one who creating the blessing. I'm not the one who generating this blessing and barakah. No, the blessing and the barakah only comes from the life force of God. I have nothing to do with creating the blessing. I am not the cause of the blessing. We're only the recipient of this blessing. My consciousness should be during the time that I study, I work hard, is that I'm only creating a space, a vessel, a levush to bring down this blessing. This is very essential. And if you think, and he warns us, that if you think you receive this blessing because you're such a nice guy, you're such a spiritual guy, you had something to do with this receiving of the blessing, that blessing becomes limited. The only way to receive absolute and totality of the light force of Ayin Bet Shemot, all the light force, is to understand that I need to absolute control my etzahara, my ego, my selfishness, that part that tells me you're good, you're smart, you're spiritual, you're a wonderful guy, you work very hard, you study very hard, you're a great physician, you're a great artist, wow, look what you did. No. Totally understand that all the good attribute that is within you, all the talent that you have within you, it's not yours. It's just a vehicle. It's just a levush, a clothing for you to bring down the blessing. And again, he says, if you, even for 10% of the blessing that you receive, that you think you might have something to do with it, if you think you had something to do to have all this barakah that you have in your life, if you have great children and you think you're a great parent, oh, my children are great because I'm a great parent. Oh, my business is successful because I'm such a great businessman. I'm a wonderful doctor because I study so hard. I am bringing the healing. Then you limit that endless blessing that exists and is made for you. is meant to be yours. This Shabbat, the power of Parashat Ekev, which is the totality of the life force, the Ayin Bet Shemot, all the 72 names of God. We only draw it if we learn to take the kuf, which goes into the land, to bury it, to bury the selfishness, to bury all the credit that we give to ourselves. We nullify it, and then we receive a totality of the light that we deserve. Be'ezrat Hashem, thank you. It's the fruit of this Shabbat. It's the fruit of this amazing Bat Mitzvah. We're all going to succeed and bring all the blessing, not only for ourselves, but for the whole world.